I spent $8.99 from my pocket, and that made me start getting something more, which is over $20,000 per month as an income as a student.
You went from zero to $20,000 per month almost in like a couple months.
Yeah, I was almost dying. I wasn't joking about that. My stomach was like literally tons of blood coming out from my mouth because I worked too hard and I have to study working while everybody were going out for college activities. And my life is just like keep working and sleep only about 3.5 hours. And that was kind of pretty much 9 years in a row, starting from that point of my life.
You're listening to Forum Founders. We tell stories of immigrant and first-gen entrepreneurs, investors, operators, and ecosystem builders. And on the show, you'll hear incredible stories that often go untold.
By 19, Archer Chiang had already built a web agency. A couple years later, running another successful company in college, and that hit $10 million in revenue working with Panasonic in Japan. Another company he built got shut down by government, and then the other one became one of the leading IoT firms in Asia. So Archer has done a lot. Today, he's the founder of Giftpack.ai, helping Fortune 500 companies like eToro to scale client retention, employee recognition, and loyalty through AI. Welcome to Forum Founders, Archer.
Hello, everybody, and thanks, Andy, for the best introduction. I'm calling from New York City, Manhattan, and hopefully snow is not burying you guys, just like me.
Yep. I know it was like super cold a couple days ago. Now it's like slushy everywhere, right? And that's
Yes,
the winter in the city.
exactly. At least we're not getting 11 inches like upper states, but
Oh, let's keep it that way.
yes.
So I did a quick intro about you, but I want to hear it from yourself. You have a journey, right? Multiple countries, almost like multiple lives with different companies that you built. So let's hear it from you, Archer.
Yeah, thank you. And feel free to cut me off. It's going to be a long story short. But hello, everyone, again. But as mentioned, I live in New York City, Manhattan, but I was raised and born in Cape Town in South Africa. So I was there for 6 years, but my parents, they are Taiwanese. So yeah, you can call me straightforward Taiwanese, but my first language started with English and a little Mandarin. And then after 6 years, I moved back to Taiwan because of political issues. And the funny part is I stayed there for around like 11 years and then moved to Japan for like 2.5, just to keep switching. Lucky part is I got 3 languages as my native, but also unfortunately I got a very weird childhood and nobody understand what I was talking about. But for this kind of roaming kind of like a style, sometimes based on my parents' business, then I also give me some ideas about, hey, this is something I want to do and something I don't want to do. So my parents, they were doing kind of like a travel agency in the diamond mining business. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this like diamond mining stuff, but just
No,
like
enlighten us.
yeah, exactly, like a pretty gambling stuff. The other kind of like a part of this is that told me that, all right, I have to do something not related to gambling. Yeah, I was in love with technology. I'm at that generation. I was born in 1992. So with my age, most of the people got their first computer surrounded about like maybe in elementary school. So maybe around like 12 years old, 13 years old. And I'm lucky enough, I got a chance to have my first Windows 92 around 14. Yeah. And then since then, I was in love with the keyboards and started learning about, okay, how this computer actually made up with. So I learned about codings since then. I was like 14 and starting from the robotics, firmwares, and try to make my robot can cross a lot of different difficulties that are set by human. I kind of raises. So yeah, got it. And that was my starting point about, hey, I love about programming. That makes everything more satisfied than if I got a like 100 score on math in school. That wasn't like
Yeah,
really something I
that's
feel
your
passionate about.
education right there.
Yeah, from kind of Asian, education system. Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
study a lot, just like other students, but I'm in love with programming, which is not actually a subject that people study in their kind of normal way. And lucky part is, I got some financial crisis when I was in the first year of college, and that was 2011. So my mom said, "Hey, Archer, that you have to take care of your tuitions and studying fund today." I was like, "What the?" And then yes, we have to carry on some of the stuff that we do with gambling, which is the data
Hmm.
mining one. Yeah. So I look at my wallet and say, okay, there's only like 2,000 NT dollar. What should I do? 2,000 NT dollar equals to about maybe less than $100. Yeah. And I need to figure out my way. And there was only about 4 months to go to pay my tuition, my kind of all the payments for the dorm, and I had to eat. Yeah. So even Taiwan is cheap enough, but still it's not going to be a cool game for me to figure out what should do next. And
Yeah.
every computer science student, we have a little dream. I'm not sure for who you're listening that what was your dream in your generation. But in the early 90s that we want to go to Stanford. Yeah. So if you want to study, you want to study the best, right, for computer science. But everybody knows that the tuition is like how expensive. Yeah, even you have
Especially
to.
compared to Taiwan, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is not a number that you can actually balance. So I
Yeah.
was figuring out, okay, how can I survive while making the tuition work? And my brother was my younger brother, which is like 2 years younger than me, got a very talented brain and filmmaking, After Effects. So he started like learning this very, very early when he was about to enter the college, and photography and that kind of stuff. And he said, "Hey, if you want to go to Stanford, I'm going to New York Film Academy." So, and, all right, so here we go, and let's try to make it together. And so I try to take a lot of part-time jobs for the kind of like the first 3 weeks. I got this final notice from my mom, and then I realized that okay, I will never be able to make it, and the only way is probably I need to start my own business.
Hmm.
And then, but what can I do? Back then, I can only do websites and apps. On a very, very kind of good basic level. I wasn't even kind of good at it. And that's probably the only way that I can make good money, because building websites and apps back then was a pretty wealthy job as a developer, right?
This is
So
around 2010
yeah,
area.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. 2010, 2011. Yeah. So I started my first firm, and I spent $8.99 from that 2,000 NT dollar from my pocket to register a kind of platform that can actually get you the freelance cases. And I was lucky enough. I got a system order for casinos, and for these kind
Like,
of systems, they're not usually going to outsource to a kind of more official firm. But as a
yeah.
student, that I have some, not say gray area, but flexibility that people can put down the prices and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
gambling can never escape.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but I got a chance to start everything from scratch. That be able to help a casino build up their, let's say, their customers like scheduling systems, their workers scheduling systems, their ERPs, and even their kind of warehouse systems, and a huge kind of pipeline of that. And that made me start getting something more, which is about, I would say, over $20,000 per month as an income as a student. Yeah, this.
You went from zero to $20,000 per month almost in like a couple months.
Yeah, I got very lucky because that $890 will only let me to put myself on the platform for 4 weeks, which is a month. So I have to
Yeah.
find at least a deal that who can hire me within 30 days, and I can really flip my life. But I
That's
wasn't
incredible.
but I wasn't expect that should be so lucky. But my boss back then, who hired me was almost like 70 years old. So when he looked at a 19 years old kid, that was a very different conversation to like I say, all right, it's like a 50 years like age gap, and how should I talk to each other? Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was like really lucky that he's willing to trust me and build out the systems, and I was concentrating a lot and asked people to help me to make sure that okay, this is actually going to be work. Yeah, so
When you got that early success, what was the feeling that you remember?
I was saying, oh, I can actually make money from my programming skills. That was the first and the most impression that I got from the very beginning. Because as a student, I sold kind of like a different little like lemon juice like most American did when they're like in the childhood. But this is my first time actually earning something from a professional skill that people recognize, which is programming. And even my mom was saying like, "Hey, why are you always sitting in front of a computer? Don't play the computer." And I was like, "No, I'm
Yeah.
not playing. I'm programming." But they will never get it. This not their it's not their generation. Yeah, they just have a computer pop up, right?
Yeah, Archer, I'm gonna cut you off, but on your LinkedIn, you also had was it League of Legends? Like you're like a pretty competitive league player. So you were also playing like competitive like games too.
Yes, exactly. And that part is a very important of my founder journey because, being a founder is very pressure. It's very stressful. And then most people have their way to, going around networking, going to gym, work out, etc. I did a lot. And then, but I realized that when my time is limited, the things I can only immerse myself in and to get this stress going is I need to play League of Legends. I need to kill somebody. Yeah, but I started playing since 2012, and that was the
Nice.
and year right after I got a lot of loadings on my shoulder, and that becomes my life again. I am still playing, so you can see the most recent record was like 2025.
Nice.
Yeah, and I couldn't really keep this up for the desktop version, so I'm lucky that they got a mobile version a couple of years later, and now I'm still a challenger player on the mobile. It's like not spending so much time, but still enjoy getting stressed out.
Yeah, so your mom's not wrong about, not just doing programming on the computer.
Yeah, but he
But
never.
but that
Yeah.
Yeah, but that first win and then that taste of being able to say like, oh, I can actually monetize and make money from my skills. That's a huge change. And then you went on to go beyond that agency, right? To build different companies. Maybe we can like fast track on why you decided to build those and like what were the learnings around those different companies that ultimately led to like Giftpack.ai.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and long story short, that a big flip about my life is I was almost dying. I wasn't joke about that is because my stomach was like literally tons of blood coming out from my mouth because I work too hard and I have to study all the time kind of to keep my grades up. So there was kind of a couple of years, every single day in my life is just working while everybody were going out for college activities, and my life is just like keep working and sleep only about 3.5 hours, and that was kind of pretty much 9 years in a row, starting from that point of my life. But exchange with money for sure, and that's kind of a great one. But I realized that if I just keep doing web agency, yeah, I may serve myself good, but I still have a gap for my Stanford tuition. And then second is I'm not going to be die before that. So I want to have something that is more automated, and I build a little application for most of the web agencies going to encounter. If hundreds of clients ask you to build a website or the app, and how do you scale? Are you gonna just copy and paste your code into each new project and make some modification? That's how industry works, right? And those work, but those codes are really suck. And then how can I actually make this process easier? And by then, there was a platform called Wix, and they're very big right now. So they help people to build websites, right? But that was a very simple version that you can only build a front end and then have basic editors to move your logos around. And there was a time I joined them as a contractor to help them design some of the templates on Whisk that people can actually use it to understand, okay, how did they actually do this? And so great part is I learned the capture from them and started building something that people call lovable today. So
Hmm.
in my program, now you are people type, hey, I want an e-commerce website, and having a drop down different types of website, and simply describe what you want. And my codes can generate an entire website code base from the backend database, even help you to push to a server within 20 minutes, and you're good to go to have
You
your own.
you built Lovable before Lovable.
Yes,
Um,
and
it
very similar application. Yes.
What did you see about that user behavior? Like, because like tech can be as complex as it wants, but what
Mhm.
do you see where it's like, oh, actually it's going the other way and helping people, like anyone, create those
Yeah.
high quality
And
websites?
when I was kind of so from AI, then AI can help you to make something quick. But if you want to make something dedicated and specific with the designs and details, you still need engineers or designers to jump in. But that, like Lovable today, that they can help you to save 90% of the time building the entire
Yeah.
infrastructure and then to accelerate the production process. And same idea back in 2011. Just like my controller maybe less than that for sure. And then back then there wasn't any CSS3. It was like CSS 2.0. Yeah, and the JavaScript and everything doesn't have a kind of framework like React. Yeah, so fun enough that one was quickly built within 3 months. And in my industry back then, I was dealing with a lot of corporations. And say, hey, Archer,
Mhm.
how about you sell this to me, and then I can replicate a lot of application internally with my engineers.
Mhm.
Yeah. So because people, when I talk about these stories to my investors, say a web agency cannot be sold, and then how did you get? Yeah. So this is just a normal kind of agency business. How can you actually sell it? Yeah. So very lucky enough because this application to generate a website and apps automatically, and that
Yeah.
makes everything more easier to actually get me a big money and get me out of this, very, very harsh like working schedule.
Yeah.
And
One of the conversations that I remember really early on in my career, the CEO back then when I was working for, she was saying she used to do a lot of consulting and services and then moved to this like SaaS product. And she was like, I wanted to do this because I wanted to make money while I sleep, which has stuck with me for a long time. Exactly like that with agency. It's like, unless you have IP or product that you can like an asset that you can create that you can sell off, like essentially it's connection and human energy. That's like
yes,
the asset into it. So you sold that agency and then went through a couple of different companies, but I would love to hear about what you're doing today and for the last 9 or almost 10 years with Giftpack.
yes, exactly. And the trigger from that point is I'm more from the engineering part. So from the very beginning, that wasn't even a business, like a person thinking I want to make a lot of money. No, I simply want to build up something that I love, and also I feel satisfied having this achievement and really helping people instead of making money. Transparently, that was my thinking. Very engineering kind of direction. And so, but I spent time to build like 54 open source projects to figure out, okay, gifting is my way. And that was because I tried to figure out how to make people happy and how can I predict people's mind, like say asking people out for dinner. What was the possibility of doing that? And while diving into this mathematics, I realized that, okay, relationship on algorithm is never going to be something I can figure out by a 22 years old guy. Back then, I wasn't good enough on this like mathematics. Yeah, but I would say, okay, this is going to be my future goal. And one day I can figure this out and I can really become the infrastructure of the society, how people look at each other. Yeah, then I carry this like motivation and jumping to the core of my algorithm needs, which is when people paying for their relationship. And luckily, that's just people call this gifting. And that is an intersection between technology and humanity. So what we were kind of started one was, and we try to make everybody happy that can make the corporate gifting easier. In my time in Silicon Valley, there was tons of HR. They're always hunting for engineers or designers, right? As you know, and especially for new grads, you got a fresh liver be able to burn. And then, yeah, so I got a lot of contact by HR, and then so understand that they're spending a lot of time doing what they are not supposed to do, which is tons of operations on their stake, and one of them is sending gifts to people.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, for sales,
It's everything from research to understanding what people want and all that things, right? Like it's like
yes,
data, research, supply, how to send
Yes.
it, like the logistics, last mile, all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. Because we were
Yeah.
so curious about how Amazon actually, as a young kid, I was so curious about how Amazon actually make this logistic work in the States. And the fun part is, well, supply chain is way bigger and way complicated in Asia. So
Yeah.
I got a chance to figure out that what's happening there and realize, oh, there is a space that we can improve and make everybody happy. And luckily, in the States, there are tons of global companies that are doing so great globally with softwares, but
Yeah.
they have no supply chain capability to make their employees and make their plans connected on the ground. So
In a
that
few
was,
words, Archer, can you describe Asia's like level of sophistication about the supply chain that you saw?
yeah, I would say Asia is one of the places that you can literally get anything built from scratch, not just taking something that somebody else is doing and decorates.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Not like a t-shirt where you print on something customization. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
like
you're
a
absolutely right.
toy from scratch.
Yes, exactly. You're actually getting from cottons to t-shirt and t-shirt with decorations in embroideries.
Yeah.
But in most of the case in the States that people only do embroidery or UV printing. Since
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. And then, so pushing the story forward and we start helping people to do kind of, I would say consolidating a lot of different factories together for corporate gifts. Because gifting wasn't a name to come up in people's mind when you actually think about it. Because when you think about shopping, then you think about Amazon. And if you think about CRM, probably HubSpot, Salesforce, that kind of name is going to come up. But if you think about gifting, nope. That was in department stores or something else, and people treat this way very traditionally. It's like, I want to go to a department store or go on Amazon to kind of get shopping around. But
Totally.
that will take hours and hours to be able to figure out just for domestics, and then what about your international customers, etc. And people try to do this themselves, and that ends up with a lot of European customers that, especially for Europe, that they came to us and say, hey, Archer, I have no idea how to handle the tax and everything, and the entire supply chain. Just help me out with it. So that ends up with the beginning of our business is doing a lot of different corporate gifting and branded swags and for international company. And we're literally the only provider that they can go global tangibly, not just like sending gift cards,
So there are a couple issues. The companies that work really well for Giftpack are global companies where they have multiple offices around the world and employees from all over. So if your company was only in the US, there are like multiple platforms that you can possibly solve this problem. But if you're global, there's like very few, right? That's the biggest differentiator for you guys.
Yes, exactly. That's absolutely right. Yeah. And for domestic fightings, we're just way cheaper than everything else.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And so initially when you're saying, oh, I wanted to create this because I want to basically make that gifting experience very natural and accurate, but this end up like becoming a legit problem that you're solving, especially for these like HR teams who have employees or clients globally. How do you make that jump from, oh, I want to make this because I want to scratch my own itch to what it is today?
Yeah, I think my goal hasn't been changed. It's just like we understand there are some of the things that we have to do first that be able to hit to the goal that we want. Because eventually, Giftpack wants to be a data infrastructure that we call this emotional capital. But before then, we have to become an incentive infrastructure for corporations that can actually do gifting easier, so we can consistently having the good quality of data and how people managing and spend for their relationship. So good part is you're absolutely right about the global ones that they do have budget, and the most important part is they have incentive program. They know how to reward their employees and customers in a good way instead of okay, I have to make my own money, I don't care about my customers. And that kind of culture is very important. That usually helps this company to be more successful. And then to the flip point, okay, now we start having this like global supply chain attached and people are happy with it. And then now people are asking, well, hey, can we automate this? And then so we start integrating with CRMs, HR systems, and that be able to say, hey, if you sign a contract with your customer, and the gifts will send out automatically from our warehouses. And salespeople are so happy just with this single action. Okay, you know how sales guy works. they really care about the second of how much time they spend on each item, but
100%.
they shouldn't be doing like this warehousing and ordering stuff. And then
Yeah.
for the HR part, I was very happy that anniversaries, birthdays, milestone achieved, and the gifts and the rewards going to send out automatically, and start building the point systems to make the entire HR team across globally can have the same level of rewards. And people call DEI this for a while. And then, so I was very lucky. And COVID hits. So,
I know. I was going to say COVID was probably really accelerant for the business too.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And because people are forced remote, and even people like say, hey, Archer, I will love to bring my gifts face to face to my customers. And now they can't. Yeah. So lucky enough that everybody needs us. And then we got a chance to kind of enhance the entire automation. And then even now with automation, people just, hey, Archer, can you deliver this to us? And to Portland, to, Cyprus.
So the AI automation makes sense. The infrastructure, the incentive infrastructure makes sense. How do they both translate into this emotional trust? Like what are you trying to unlock with that next phase of Giftpack?
Yeah, exactly. So when AI can start doing a lot of stuff, before we talk about emotional capital, and we have one gap needs to be filled, which is how we can use AI to transform the entire traditional industry. Because automation is just part of that. But in the promotional world, if you just want to build a T-shirt, then you put your logos on the website and with fakey markups, that kind of thing, the clients will never be able to know that what's going to be delivered to their door. And that becomes 99% of a blocker that they cannot place an order to automate the process. They still need to talk to you and get us samples, etc. So we're lucky enough to get a kind of, we call this like a square procurement agent. And then now you're able to simply type, hey, Andy, I got a booth at Vegas and with my exhibition. And then this is my budget and the theme. So AI will start jumping to source the great product selections from over 8,000 factories that we have. And then not only picking the products for you, but also make the design for you directly on the product itself. And it looks so real. Even before GPT came out and Gemini made this huge move, we made this back in 2020. So nobody was doing that. And it was we made this markup like so simple and easy for AI to make their renders. And then also putting you in the calculators that help you to understand how the warehousing and logistics works globally. And you can literally check out in 6 minutes. And so from that kind of infrastructure that triggers, okay, when everybody's doing gifting so easy, then we can have a lot of relationship management data that how much people are spending on per occasion, per scenario, per job title, per region. And then so that becomes the foundation, the data that connects everybody in different industries about, like say, real estate and hospital. The way that they manage the relationship is so different. So we start building our model back in like 2023 and to learn more about the relationship behavior pattern with human behavioral science and psychology, along with our unique algorithms. To all this like combine together, while with millions of transactions happening on our platform every year, to see why I'm spending this money to you. And then so that becomes a trust score that how people look at each other.
Yeah. You have this, it goes beyond the reviews. It's like people, sometimes if you go on Amazon, you're like, I don't trust the reviews because you don't know if it's gamed or not. But essentially, you have that complete feedback loop, and also high valued interaction, like from a company to a client. It's a very high value interaction. You can actually get a lot of like high quality data around that.
Yes, exactly. And especially money not gonna cheat people. Is that you spend money on a relationship, that is real money. And you must have a reason to spend that money.
Yeah, for sure. I know we're almost at time. There are a couple additional questions. I would love to have you back on the show because we kind of skipped over like your middle part and went straight to Giftpack, which is what you're doing right now. But one of the things that I would also love to ask is like, you are writing a book, right? What's the book?
It's gonna be a long journey for me. Just let everyone know I'm just 33 this year. And then, so I try to record of my life journeys about what's gonna be an interesting person for roaming around the world being a founder. And I live in New York City right now for a couple of years, but in most of my life I keep traveling and see a lot of different things and from the foundation point of view perspectives. And I want to let more people know that how can actually get this like a logic out, and it's going to be very, very fun if you understand the system, how system works, and become a global engineer. Not engineer. Well, engineer, yes. Entrepreneur is never be hard. It's just going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah. And then the book is like building AI company in New York City, right?
Yes, exactly. I am having a series of articles that I keep writing down to share my life about how to build a AI company from the New York City standpoint.
Okay, from someone who lives in New York City, why are you building an AI company in New York City? Because a lot of people would say, hey, like you can get a lot of like talent in the Bay Area.
Silicon Valley. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so for me, look at AI has a different angle. So Silicon Valley, they're doing a really good job on making the foundation model more complete, much smarter. And then in New York City is the place that you can extend the AI actually into their real world application. So it's not just about keep focusing on algorithms and computation, that kind of issues, but how can AI actually land into legal, into my traditional industry, factory chains, or into the hospital? And New York City usually has best imagination and possibility on that, while Silicon Valley is surrounding with most of the calm scene, I would say. And then they are really not facing a tense world of tons of innovations and activities happening in the application layer. And for gifting, that's the reason I'm here, that Inter Fifth Avenue is they are all our partners. So I need to get closer to where the industry need AI instead of, I sit with my model, but I'm very far away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question I asked everyone on the show is, what are you, Archer, optimistic about?
Well, I think my life will be, I think my answer is going to be my life. And I hope everybody does too. And just like, no matter how hard a founder journey is, you are not going to, don't take this negatively when something is not going right. Especially if you're losing something, if something is not bad, that means, okay, I'm learning something. I'm getting educated by the society or by the market. So next time I will always do better. So my life will only go well. And I would say this is, how me, and also I suggest people to look at their founder journey. This is not, I know it's hard, but it just needs a more positive way and optimistic way to get you a stronger person.
And with that, thank you for coming on the show, Archer. Is there if you wanted new customers to reach out to you, or people who've listened to the show to reach out, like where do you want to send them to?
Yeah, and appreciate Andy for having me. And if you want to learn more about me, myself, and also the company, please feel free to go on Giftpack.ai, Giftpack, one word.ai. And then feel free to email me at archerwindy@Giftpack.ai, Archer Windy, one word. I will be here for you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
And
Thank you for being on the show.